Hi folks, thanks for checking out my 8.2 Guardian Druid guide. If you are interested in playing Guardian Druid, this is a great time to start. There's been a tremendous amount of buffs right across the board, and we'll do a quick review of what's changed in 8.2. So a number of spells have changed. Remove Corruption is now castable in bear form, really helpful if you're pushing that mythic content. Both Iron Fur and Maul Rage has been lowered to 40, it used to be 45. Mangle now generates 10 rage, it used to only be 8. Bear form starts at 25 rage, it used to only start at 20. And direct damage from both Mangle and Thrash has been increased by 15%. Frenzied Regeneration now heals for 32%. It used to only be 24. It was actually really hurting. Some of the best aspects of the Guardian Druid remain largely unchanged. They've got a strong passive damage reduction, stackable, non-cooldown active mitigation in terms of Iron Fur. You can put up to 8 stacks of Iron Fur on you at a time now. There's really good raid utility with both the Battle Res and the Stampeding Roar, and they're able to perform a bunch of hybrid duties throughout a bunch of different talents. As far as weaknesses go, um, they really sacrifice significant amounts of survivability for them to be competitive. When I think about high-end Mythic dungeons, I did not see many Guardian Druids all the way from 8.0 up to 8.15. Hopefully that changes going into 8.2. It's the self-sustain that really hurts them, even with the right talent spec. Frenzied Regeneration only having a couple buffs hurts, and they've got kind of similar to the Protection Warrior, pretty weak magic mitigation. So they're just really eating it. Um, Going into 8.2, I expect them to largely be competitive in raids and dungeons. Our defensive power has really been boosted. Uh, Iron Fur having really that lowered cost is going to make a material difference. Um, Guardian Druid, Mangle and Thrash having that damage buffed, that'll help their output. Still won't put them up there with the Protection Warriors or even Vengeance Demon Hunters, but we'll see. Being able to dispel in bear form though will really help in terms of the mythic dungeons. The painful part of 8.2 and Guardian Druid since Legion really is the limited self sustain. So those two frenzied regeneration buffs really need to change if we want to make this tank spec sexy again, but it's still useful. The buffs will help, the nerfs will really be looked over really quick, but I think when the dust settles, it'll be improved. It won't be in as bad a shape as it was through the first build, and I'm a little hopeful that I'll play my bear tank a little more than at least my blood death knight in this next section. When we look at Guardian Druid talents, there's a couple ways that we can go, to be fully honest with you. Bristling Fur is the go-to level 15 talent. I like Wild Charge next. The next affinity is really up to you. Restoration affinity is great if you want to complement your self heals. I like the balance affinity just because I like increasing my range of the different attacks that I have. Mighty Bash is my preference. I like being able to rock a stun with whomever I'm squaring off with. Soul of the Forest is the usually attractive, we'll call it base talent, although Galactic Guardian is used as well as Incarnation, the Guardian of Ursoc, and we'll go through different builds for each level 75 talent. In terms of level 90, the Earth Warden is a popular one, but so is the Garden of Elune. Survival of the Fittest doesn't get used quite as often. And then level 100 talents, Pulverize is a popular one, but Rend and Tear has actually been starting to get picked up quite a bit by the community in the last little bit. And any of those talents really will cover you from a base build standpoint. But if you want to kind of step back a little bit, let's look at a couple different builds here. If you're going for a raiding build and you want to go with a defensive single talent, go Bristle Fur. It's up to you in terms of level 30. I usually like Wild Charge. Go with the Restoration Affinity. There it is. You'll see it again pretty quick. After that, I like Mighty Bash usually. Soul of the Forest is the next sexy move. It actually doesn't matter, so I'd stick with Guardian of Elune. Really just complements your Mangle game. And then Pulverize. That's probably one of your best defensive builds that you can get after. Alternatively, if you are going with a raid offensive single target build, it's going to look totally different. So say see you later bristling fur, we're going with brambles. Restoration affinity, no thanks. I want balance. I want to push that DPS as far as I can. Level 60, that's just a personal preference. Soul of the Forest for level 75, Survival of the Fittest for level 90, and Pulverize again for level 100. Really, really popular there. If you are a freaky deaky cat weaver and you really like shifting in and out of that cat form while not tanking so that you can maximize your damage, this is going to be your build. So cat weaving has brambles, fully wide open, either Tiger Dash or Wild Charge. I like Wild Charge. Feral Affinity obviously is your go-to because you are the cat. Again, level 60 is your preference or depending on what you're facing. Galactic Guardian becomes popular again. Survival of the Fittest is your go-to, but at level 100, we stop talking about Pulverize being the go-to, and instead we're going to go with Rend and Tear. And that passive ability really just transfers from bear mode back through over in terms of cat as well if we need to. So a little bit of fun to be had there anyway. Keep your eyes open for the different options as far as the builds go. There's a bunch of other multi-talent builds that exist. The multi-talent build for raiding is exactly this, with the only change being from feral to you'd go back to balance. And just fight with these funky fist gloves before you go back into your giant angry bear build. Alright folks, that is the quick overall of structural changes and different talent builds for 8.2. I really hope to see Guardian Druid make the push back. I'm going to try to play with it as one of my preferred alts in the real near future. Let me know in the comments, what did you like, what did we miss the mark on, what can we do better? Thanks a bunch for watching, and drop it down in the comments. Hit the subscribe button, it helps me out a ton. See ya!